I have come to this island to find paradise, rediscover the me I am, reclaim my power, fully devour the life that's been placed in these hands. I shall become translucent, see all the beauty as memories get washed away. I shall stand on a new shore, divinely reborn, to celebrate. Translucent, translucent, revealing a brand new me. Oh, translucent, translucent, it's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. Island to find paradise, rediscover the me I am. Here I reclaim my power, fully devour the life that's been placed in these hands. I can feel it, I can feel it. I shall become translucent, see all the beauty as memories get washed away. I shall stand on a new shore, divinely reborn, to celebrate. Everybody sing it out. Translucent, translucent, revealing a brand new me. Oh, translucent, translucent, it's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new, it's a brand new day. It's a brand new, it's a brand new. I have come to this island to find paradise, rediscover the me I am. Yes, here I reclaim my power to fully devour the life that's been placed in these hands. I can feel it, I can feel it. I shall become translucent, see all the beauty as memories get washed away. I shall stand on the new shore, divinely reborn, to celebrate. Everybody sing it out. Translucent, translucent, revealing a brand new me. Oh, translucent, translucent, it's a brand new day. 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 Translucent, translucent, revealing a brand new me. Oh, translucent, translucent, it's a brand new day. 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 I'm gonna play. I'm gonna get my brand new. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna get my brand new. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna get my brand new. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna get my brand new.
an event that happened, but I have just been reminded multiple times this week that new stuff is where the growth happens. New things that come into my life, a new way of looking at things, seeing things differently. That's where the growth happens. And I'm a little resistant from time to time about new stuff because I like my pattern, the way I got it going. But I'm also just enjoying it so much that new things create growth.
Any other gratitudes this morning? Awesome. And I'll just tag on to what Neil had to say. One of the benefits of going on vacation is it kind of shakes things up and gets you out of your set routine. And so that opens other doors. And then when you come back to your normal life, you're like, wow, I really like my life. So it gives you a whole new perspective on that also. Okay. And we do have a Father's Day slide that's coming up there. So happy Father's Day. And unity is grounded in affirmative prayer and in meditation, and we do have trained prayer chaplains. I'm a chaplain, and of course, Reverend Neil is, and we also have the prayer box on the back. If you have a prayer need, you want to write it out there. And if you want one of us to contact you, put your contact information at the bottom of that. During the week, if you have any kind of prayer need, you can always go online and post it to the site, neil.unityofpayson@gmail.com. And we will hold these prayers sacred, confidential. We hold them for 30 days here, and then they get forwarded on to Silent Unity, where they're held for another 30 days. So don't hesitate to ask for prayer. Right now we have two pages worth of prayer requests. That's awesome. So the theme for the month of June is compassion. And let's say the affirmation together. Divine compassion flows to and through me, and the world is lifted up. Isn't that the truth? If we could just have everybody in the world be kind and compassionate, the world would work. So, and today's speaker is Reverend Claudia Franklin, and her talk title is Choose Compassion. And I have a little bio because many of you know Claudia as a member, but maybe did not realize that she's a minister. Reverend Claudia grew up in Schenectady, New York, in the Dutch Reformed Church, which I know nothing about. She graduated from the engineering school at ASU, and after several years in industry, she started buying apartment buildings. After retiring, she went to seminary in California and was called to become a New Thought minister, practicing for 14 years. She has been a member of Unity of Payson since shortly after we formed. We are pleased to have her with us today, so thank you for being here. And our metaphysical moment, of course, is going to be about fathers. I bless my father with loving thoughts of gratitude. Today, I bless my father and the father figures I have known with thoughts of love and appreciation. The man I call father may or may not be related to me, but he has touched my life with love. I give thanks for those fatherly figures who selflessly gave their time and love to help me grow into the person I am today. Their demonstrations of patience showed me how to give others space and time. Their humor and lightheartedness taught me to not take myself too seriously. Their guidance and trust encouraged me to be independent and trust myself. I would not be the person I am today without the lesson of love and wisdom shared by my father. In so many ways, he gave me a strong foundation on which I build my life. I am grateful and blessed with all he has given me. And from Matthew, honor your father. And I think one of the things I appreciate most about whether you call it fatherly energy or just male energy is the fact that I have felt safe most of my life. And I think that's one of the big things that the male energy brings to the rest of us, is that sense of being cared for and protected and safe. And I always so appreciate that. And now our speaker, Reverend Claudia.
I think. Okay. Let's see what I have here. I really appreciate the invitation. I haven't spoken in quite a long time, and this is. And can you hear me? Okay, I'm close. All right. This morning I did myself a great service of compassion. I haven't spoken in so long, and this morning I went into the back of my closet to grab my black high heels, and I thought, black high heels, goodness sake, I haven't had them on since the last time I did a wedding. So this morning I decided, guess what? We're in compassion. We're going to do black sandals, and so that's how I started my day, and that sure felt good. You know, hearing the stuff about fathers this morning, it brings to my mind my father, who waited his turn on Ellis Island and came here as a 10-year-old, and loved this country. And in my spiritual work every day, I bless this country, the sweet land of liberty. And I remember my father's respect and love of this country, and that comes to me, especially on Father's Day, when when we mention the safety and love we feel for my fathers are so beautiful, and so I say that. Thank you, Dad. Anyway, we're going to talk today about compassion and choosing compassion, and I'm going to start the morning with the story of Noah. Noah, we all know Noah's story. God said he was going to wipe us all out, and he chose the finest man of the day. And this, of course, in the ancient story, they embraced a God being that isn't in our world today. It was a different God being who could decide on somebody to do things like wipe out a whole world. So we aren't going to that isn't the God of today, but in the ancient story, the God decided on the best person on the planet, and that was Noah. He was just the best husband, the best father, the best neighbor, the best citizen. He was just the greatest guy on earth, and he chose him to repopulate the planet. You know that story. And so he had 3 sons and the boat and the whole thing. He built his boat, you remember, of, was it like 20 cubits or 30 cubits, 50 cubits? A cubit, is about this long. It's an ancient measurement. It's about 18 inches. And so it wasn't the Titanic. It wasn't the Queen Mary. And God told him to make it 3 stories and to round up all these animals. And I encourage you to go read the story again. It's amazing. He said he wants it 3 stories. He said two of everybody, except the good animals. He changed his mind a little bit and said, no, we're going to have 7 of the good animals. So, and then after it was all over, he told them to sacrifice some. So they ended up sacrificing some of these good animals. This story is just amazing. And, and the rains came and all that. And if you the story that we get in Sunday school when we're growing up is that God blessed the earth and said he'd never flood us out again. You're not going to tell that to people in New Orleans or in Florida today, but anyway, no more major floods to that degree, and God was going to bless us with the rainbow. And so the story ends there in Sunday school. God blesses us with a rainbow. Now we're going to leave the Noah story, and I'm going to transfer now to another ancient story of Gilgamesh. A lot of you know Gilgamesh as the young king in Mesopotamia, very ancient. we get this story. Remember now, we're getting this Gilgamesh story from the clay tablets, with the little triangular notches on the clay. This story is amazing. It's so deep, and we get it very recently when we could decipher the writings on the clay tablets. The Gilgamesh story is this is a young king in Mesopotamia. That's where the Tigris and the Euphrates come together. And he was raised as a young prince and didn't have any friends until he developed this friend. And he loved his friend. His friend was such a character, an outgoing guy, a man of the woods. In today's world, he'd have probably been a biker. Am I moving from the microphone too much? Okay, put up your hand if I do that, because I usually don't pay attention. So he loved his friend, and they had more fun. They went around, they discovered life together. There were little kingships and municipalities around that they used to go over and harass and do silly kid things too. And they discovered girls together. And at one point, they were out horsing around having a wonderful time together. And his friend was injured in one of these fake raids on a kingship. He was injured, took a spear to his midsection, and several days later he died from the infection. Well, this young king Gilgamesh, was just brokenhearted, and couldn't stand it. Just terrible. So anyway, he heard about the ancient teacher who had died and was living in the afterlife. And according to the story, this young king could go to him if he traveled and went through some water. He had to swim through some deep waters, got to the other side, and told this teacher, who had lived through the flood himself, the teacher did, experienced the same thing that Noah did. And he went to the teacher and said, "I've lost my best friend. I can't go on. I am brokenhearted. I have lost my best friend." And the teacher showed him compassion. This teacher had experienced what Noah had experienced, but he took his experience of the flood and turned it toward compassion and was able to teach young people. He told young Gilgamesh of the new life he had, of the opportunity to be a king, a compassionate king, and to live a life of goodness. The young king, the teacher in the Gilgamesh story, took his experience and became a great teacher. And one of the things that is in this old story, can you imagine deciphering this from the little cuneiforms on the clay tablets? This story amazes me. It wasn't written down like our Bible stories were so much. Well, there was a spiritual leader there, a woman who gave Gilgamesh some advice. And she starts out by saying, "When the gods created mankind, they appointed death for mankind and kept eternal life as their own, in their own hands." You see, they have life and death. It's beyond our control. The gods kept that to themselves. There are things beyond our control. But now she goes on to say, "But as an individual, so Gilgamesh, let your stomach be full every day and night, and enjoy yourself in every way. Every day, arrange for pleasures." This is written thousands of years ago on clay tablets. "Day and night, dance and play. Wear fresh clothes. Keep your hair washed. Bathe in water. Appreciate the child that holds your hand." And my favorite one is, "Let your wife enjoy herself on your lap." God, that's fun. Isn't that delightful? And so they're turn your tragedy into a good life. Know it's there. In New Thought religion, we don't deny these things happen, but we take them into our lives and turn them into lessons and turn them into strengthening our own goodwill. Let your wife enjoy your lap. Oh gosh, isn't that fun? Anyway, Gilgamesh, the history of that ancient Mesopotamian civilization, says that Gilgamesh went on to become a good, compassionate king. He was a very effective man, and he turned what was his terrible story, the flood story, his story of the death of his friend, into being a good king, a wonderful king. Let's jump now back to Noah. Let's go back to Noah. Noah, you remember, it had God tell him to build this boat, the ark, get all the animals rounded up. The same thing happened to the teacher in the Gilgamesh story. And I hope you don't, do you completely lose me when I go over here? I hope you're, okay, I'll try to behave. God told him to build this ark, take his 3 sons aboard, and so what was that like? What was that like? The waters came, and the waters kept coming, and the waters started making the boat rise. And what happened at that time? I mean, this was not a Sunday school picnic. People were pounding on the side of the boat, the ark, saying, his neighbors, friends, relatives, saying, let us on the boat, let us on the boat. And he kept remembering God's orders, and he had to let them, he had to get past that. He had to leave it for his wife and himself and his 3 sons. And when, the birds go out, and the story is so interesting. The birds go out and they come back 10 days later, and how long they stayed in that boat was just amazing. And then the birds came back. I think it was 3 times they made these trips, and how all these animals in the bowels of this ship. Can you imagine what he lived through? Well, the water started receding, and the water started melting away. And what did he find in his new world? There are rotting carcasses, and there is mud and a mess everywhere. Can you imagine the world that opens up to these ark stories? When the waters go away, they go away and leave a mess to start over on. I carried the Bible. Unity ministers don't usually carry Bibles, but I carried one today for the story. I want to read it to you. Very short. Now the sons of Noah who went out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Ham was the father of Canaan. Remember that Ham is the middle one. He's the father of a man named Canaan. And of these were the sons of Noah, and from these the whole world was populated. It's interesting to me that the whole world was populated. It's within the Noah story that God says to go out and be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. This is the Noah story, told him that they're going to populate the whole world. And Noah began to be a farmer, and he planted a vineyard. Remember, in Sunday school, we stopped with a rainbow, didn't we? It would be interesting for you this week to suggest to one of your Baptist friends that Noah became an alcoholic. Just now that's a sick joke, but don't blame me for it. But I'm saying that they don't realize this part of the story that is so significant and so valuable in today's world. He became a farmer, and he planted a vineyard, and he drank the wine and was drunk and became uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his 2 brothers outside about his father. He's in the tent there lying naked and drunk. And Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it on both their shoulders, and went backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned away, and they did not see their father's nakedness. Noah awoke from the wine and knew that what his younger son had done to him. He had seen him in his nakedness. Seeing him in his nakedness. We're talking about honesty here. Seeing in your nakedness means that you're getting awful honest here. So Noah, okay, and then he said, Canaan, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants. He shall be a servant to his brothers. It was Ham's son, the one who saw him in the nakedness. Noah condemned to being a servant. Think about that in what we know now about the dynamics of a dysfunctional home in our world. So often the um, scapegoat of the family is telling the family the truth of the family, and the people within the family can't stand that, and often drive out the scapegoat, saying, "Don't tell us the truth. We don't want the truth." You know the old thing about the elephant in the room? Don't tell us about the elephant. If you mention that dad slept in the carport last weekend, don't mention that. You always get dad upset with that. Well, it happened the weekend before too. Don't mention it. And the scapegoat gets pushed out of a family before he's educated, before he's trained, before he's brought up to know the value and the strength of his own dignity. So they have pushed out the young son of Ham, the one who saw Noah in his nakedness, in the honesty of what was going on here. They became a servant class. When you are pushed out, before you have the benefits of your home, of your educated home, you become a member of the servant class. Oh my gosh, that is such an, you see the kids on the street, they finally get their feet under themselves, but they have become a member of the servant class, taking the lowliest jobs to start with in today's world. This ancient story is so relevant, it just breaks my heart. So anyway, Noah became an alcoholic. He became a drunk, and I don't want to say this disrespectfully. With all my heart, they had that God of that era chose the greatest man on earth. He was the best man on the planet. He was a fine man, a good man, and he couldn't let his flood go. He could not let his flood go. He still heard the people on the side of the ark begging to come on. He still smelled the carcasses. His whole life was still defined by the flood. The teacher in the Gilgamesh story knew the flood. We don't evaporate that story. He still has that story, but he turned it into strength, into the compassion for the younger generation, knowing that we get through these things. Noah's flood story was still with him, and he started to drink. Now, Noah went through drink, but when we hang on to our floods, and we all have our floods, Lynn knows some of us have more than one, that there is dysfunction in your life if you're not able to see it in the perspective of being, taking on the good stuff they suggested to Gilgamesh, living well, eating well, dancing and singing. This comes out of the passion of leaving your flood behind. If you still had your flood, you're still not being kind to yourself. You're still not being fair. And today, let's talk about how to get past our floods, because those floods are still with us if we're letting them be in an emotional way. They can be a memory, but they can't suppress your will to live. What are the floods? He left. She got sick, and it was terrible. I trusted them, and they made a big dent in my retirement. I mean, these things are floods. They are really floods. And if we hang on to them, they punish you today. You can let go of these floods by changing your mind and choosing compassion for yourself, and entering life with appreciation of what you've come through. By golly, I survived that. And then anybody. Making a choice takes you out of that flood mode. How do you make a choice? The other morning, a couple months ago, I ran out of milk. So there's breakfast. And for breakfast, I have, my grain and my egg and a little bit of olive oil and some blueberries. I throw it in the microwave with milk. Well, I didn't have milk. So water on my cereal. So and I sat down, and this was different. It tasted different. But I did do water on my milk, on my cereal that morning. And it was fine. And I stopped buying dairy. I took myself, that was a decision that led to a decision to cut out dairy. Well, I dropped a few pounds and I saved a few dollars. And I'm quite without dairy right now. That's a good way. I can make a change like that. Change comes unexpectedly, or it can come with a real hard decision too. You can define life by making a decision that I will no longer be victimhood to my flood story. I don't want my flood to control my life. Ah, boy. What's another one you could make a decision on? I'm just looking at what might be a decision for you. Are you still hanging on to stuff? Are you hanging on to your grandmother's glassware? Do you pay your storage every month for your grandmother's glassware? For the boxes of fabric you're going to make skirts out of? Where you're going to sew yourself some skirts someday? And you're hanging on to this storage unit. Think about giving up your storage. That's a decision of compassion for yourself. Give up your storage shed. And I might add, when you do that, not only will it feel good, I would take those few dollars and I would donate it to my church. The church where you're fed your spiritual well-being. This church is wonderful. Reverend Neil's messages are wonderful. We feed people a way to get past their floods and to join world without being a martyr, without having to do a bushel full of Hail Marys or anything like that. We teach you how to live joyfully. It's your birthright. Let go of the floods. Let go of your flood. One of my major floods, and then one of my major floods, this is so major in my life, was my daughter's mother-in-law. Oh, was that a flood? And I had to figure out what in the world to do about that. Number one, the first thing we do with our floods is define them. No, that's a flood. That's a flood. That's taking a toll on my life. I'm not going to do that flood anymore. And so I started to figure out what to do about my daughter's mother-in-law. At one point, I drew a picture of her when she was 3 years old, and I talked to her when she was a little girl. And I'm not suggesting that we become martyrs to this. No, I stood up for myself. But it didn't take the gut-wrenching toll that the flood took on Noah. It was a Gilgamesh story. I was going to be above this, and wasn't going to take it lying down. Okay, so I decided to change my thoughts about my daughter's mother-in-law, and it did change. And guess what took the place of anger and disappointment? The word is compassion. The word is compassion that takes the place of your flood. We don't want you to be martyrs. Be okay with it. I want to read once more as I'm wrapping up what the message was to Gilgamesh. Listen to this again. It is just adorable. Remember, gods created mankind, and they appointed death for mankind and kept eternal life for themselves. There are things that you just can't get past. Things that just can't be life and death. All right, taxes, maybe whatever. So Gilgamesh, let your stomach be full day and night. Enjoy yourself in every way. Every day arrange for pleasures. Day and night, dance and play. Wear your fresh clothes. Keep your head washed. Bathe in water. I love that. Appreciate the child that holds your hand, and let your wife enjoy herself in your lap. In giving up our flood story, and some of us have more than one, we can open the gates to living well and making it into a Gilgamesh story where we can dance and play, enjoy your wife in your lap. I really thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, and as we prepare for meditation, we have our meditation song, and it is Center of the Heart by Jan Garrett.
Here we are at the perfect time and the perfect place, showing up with an open mind and all this space. Anything can happen here, we all play a part. Here's an invitation to the center of the heart. Take my hand, here we go. What's the plan? We don't have to know. Take a breath, make a start. Welcome home to the center of the heart. Here we are at the perfect time and the perfect place, showing up with an open mind and all this space. Anything can happen here, we all play our part. We're all in this together at the center of the heart. Take my hand, here we go. What's the plan? We don't have to know. Take a breath, make a start. Welcome home to the center of the heart. Welcome home to the center of the heart.
Time now for us to go into the quiet, to take the truth that we've heard and to hold it close. So as we go into this time of meditation, center yourself. Breathe deeply. Just be. Be the I am that you are in the silence. And as you descend into the center of your heart, that place within you where all good resides, all resources are available, let those floods go. Don't bring them to the center of the heart. You may have carried that flood with you for a long time. Time to let it go. So, in this holy, sacred place within, experience the divine compassion, the essence of all that is, but it's abiding in you. Take a moment to feel that, to place your full focus on that, to appreciate it, to be grateful. So, what will you do when you go back to the world of this day? Will you be changed a little bit? Will you look at things differently? Because you've been there and you've had that connection with divine compassion that's always there for you. Take a moment to intend living out the truth compassionately. Take a moment to choose. I've got all these resources. I know the truth. I choose to allow compassion to flow through me, and in fact, indeed, to be compassion in my world. Spend a few moments in the quiet, determining how that works for you. And make your commitment about how you will live in the future, how you will see things differently, how you will stay in the very present moment, how you will live the compassion that the divine is and that you also are. Here's a chance to choose, to commit to that as the course that you'll take. So choose what you truly desire. Choose in alignment with how you're created. Choose in the way that expresses in the world the truth of you, a divine creation. Choose compassion. Now it's time to bring your attention back to here, wherever you are, to now, this very moment. With the commitment you make, with the resolve that you've had, you enter this day or re-enter this day a bit changed. And what you will see before you is a changed world. Be grateful then. Be grateful. Utter a little sigh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, God. So as you bring yourself and your awareness back to this present moment, you may want to open your eyes, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Be here now, a changed person. And so it is.
How often we aren't as compassionate with ourselves as we are with other people. It always seems easier to forgive others than perhaps always forgiving ourselves. So always good thoughts. So now's the time for our gifts and our offerings. And Unity of Payson is really grateful for all the gifts. We bless the gifts and the givers. And in a moment, we'll have a song here. And so those of you online, there will be slides up for how you can give. There'll be plenty of time for that. And here in person, we will have the basket passed. Charlotte, if you can be sure that that's out. And let's hold the thoughts that just came to you as you were in the meditation about being kind and compassionate with yourself. And let's charge up this gift with those thoughts and say our affirmation together. Freely we give and freely we receive. And our song, our offertory song is God's Abundance by Scott Peck, appropriately so.
Take a look around you now. Open up your eyes and see all the beauty of the Spirit that's surrounding you and me. From the colors of a rainbow to a hummingbird in flight, or majestic mountains glowing on a clear and moonlit night. God's abundance is all around us. The universe wants you to know you are prosperous beyond measure. Let it flow. God's abundance is all around us. Just look around and you will know you are prosperous beyond measure. Let it flow, and it will grow. Think of all the countless stars and all the grains of sand, all the life forms on this planet, in the sea and on the land. And the sound of songbirds singing is part of God's great symphony, like the crashing of the thunder and the wind blowing through the trees. God's abundance is all around us. The universe wants you to know you are prosperous beyond measure. Let it flow. God's abundance is all around us. Just look around and you will know you are prosperous beyond measure. Let it flow, and it will grow. When something's not enough, life is getting tough, then it's time to turn within to see what's up. Remind yourself that you are a child of God, it's true, and all you need's inside of you. Oh, there's nothing you can't be, there's nothing you can't have. is all around us. Just look around and you will know. You are prosperous beyond measure, let it flow. God's abundance is all around us. The universe wants you to know. You are prosperous beyond measure, let it flow. God's abundance is all around us. The universe wants you to know. You are prosperous beyond measure, let it go. And it will grow. It will grow if you let it grow. Just let it flow.
And it is time for our dedication of offering, and together, divine love flowing through us blesses and multiplies all that we are, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. We are abundantly prosperous, and we give thanks. Thanks, Karen. Okay, so we continue on next week with our theme for the month of compassion. And our speaker will be our own Reverend Neil, and his talk title, How Will They Know That You Are Divine? Might have something to do with how you act. So we now have a few announcements, and we won't go over everything that's going on because we always have a lot of activities. But we do have a few that we would like to highlight. Most of the meetings are on Zoom. Some of them are in person. So do check the Monday e-newsletter for details. So first we have on Tuesday, the 18th, we have Course in Miracles, and that's from 4 to 5:30. And that is the first and third Tuesday of the month. That's on Zoom. And then we're going to be starting up, I'm assuming this is from Tom, the drumming on the rim again. If you haven't ever been to that, that's always really fun. Sunset on the Rim and Solstice Celebration, Friday, June 21st. Drumming starts at 6:30. Sunset will be at 7:42. Bring your drums and your rattles and other instruments to make a joyful sound. Also, a folding camp chair and something to drink and a windbreaker is always a good idea because we're out right on the edge of the rim. And for those of you who don't know, let's see if I can remember how to explain this. If you take the Woods Canyon Road, once you get up there, it's the second formal turnoff, Rim Vista. And it's always a really great time to watch the sunset go down there with the drumming. It's awesome. Great way to celebrate the solstice. And so there's a new book group going on. And this one, I'm familiar with the book, Discover Your Divinity. And it's really an expanded explanation of the prayer process. But in going through that, it's a wonderful way of opening up to your own inner self. And there's a sign up on the back. It'll be Wednesdays, starting June 26 for 6 Wednesdays from 6 to 7:30. On here in person at the fellowship hall and also on Zoom. And let Reverend Neil know there's a sign up in the back, and I believe there's one online now that they can go online to sign up for that class. It's a wonderful book, so I highly suggest you do that one. And just a little side note here, let's finish our puzzle in the back. Reverend Neil said there's going to be a prize if you're the one that puts in the last piece. So everybody put in a few pieces before you take off today. And let's see, we still have the gift shop and the library in the back. So take a little meander through that. And P.S. from Reverend Neil.
I just want to emphasize, you got to get into this book study. This is just a super book. It is a fresh approach to timeless truth about affirmative prayer and how it can, as Betty said, how it can make a real difference in your life and in those with whom you pray with, for whom you pray. So please sign up. You can do it virtually or you can do it here in person, either one. And we're looking forward to a great time together. Yes, do put some pieces in that puzzle. It's almost there. While you're socializing, having a cookie, come over and put in a couple of pieces. The puzzle is the labyrinth, the new labyrinth in Unity Village. So we've got all the background and all the stuff around it. Now we've just got to get the labyrinth part filled in there. So I won't tell you what the prize is, but there's a nice prize. One other thing, our hosts want to use this facility, this fellowship hall, this week for an event they're having. So afterwards, after we've socialized a bit, would you, if you're still able to be here and help carry a few things, we're going to bring everything up into this front third. That's the tables back there that are ours, so that they can have the space of the rear 2/3 for the event that they're going to have during this week. So that's all I've got. We're going to sing the peace song together. If we'll circle up here in person and sing along with us if you're here virtually as well. And then the prayer for protection. If you're with us online, hang in there for just a minute because I'd love to greet you at the end of everything. And here we go with the peace song.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every step I take, this is my joyous thought. I take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
And together, the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. And the presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, all is well. Thank you so much for being here. And Terry, if you can give me a gallery view and expand that a little bit, we'll. There we go. So thank you for those of you who are with us online. My lovely wife, Donna. Thank you, Donna, for being here and for all the feedback you will give me later about this. Sue, I know you've got a lot of family stuff happening, but you're still here online, and I'm so delighted to see you. Terry is here, and Sammy, her mother, is here. Sammy, great to see you again and have you with us. Marianne, ever faithful Marianne, leading with the peace sign. Frosty, again, ever faithful. And Bobby, a little spark plug that's been with us virtually for quite some time. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you all again soon. We're gonna stack the chairs, but we'll stack them back in this area.